I'm still not over the way Bachelor Nation is falling for the Golden Bachelorette's Chock Chapple's Good Fiancé act. He's playing a part for Joan Vassos. December 10, 2024. Hello, Bachelor Nation news fans. Welcome back to the channel. The Golden Bachelorette Season 1 ended with Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple happily engaged, but I'm still not over the fact that Bachelor Nation is falling for Chock's Good Fiancé act. Joan's time as the Golden Bachelorette was a first for the franchise, and as the inaugural lead there was a lot of pressure surrounding her choice at the end of the season. The Golden Bachelorette season, the 1st of May, have had a lead who was dedicated to finding love and a cast of guys who were open to love in their lives, but there were still issues with the show. The majority of the time Joan and Chock were together on screen, Bachelor Nation struggled to understand their relationship. Joan, who was open to love after losing her late husband Joan Vassos, fell for Chock within their first few Bachelorette dates together, but Bachelor Nation didn't see him the way Joan did. While Chock seemed to be a decent person, many understood his isolation tactics. Coming off as a non-committal guy on screen, it was clear that a lot was missing from his story, and I'm shocked Bachelor Nation appears to be falling for his good guy act after the show. Bachelor Nation saw Chock's red flags early. Although Chock wasn't the only guy featured on the Golden Bachelorette, he was one of the more heavily featured suitors throughout the season's run. As Bachelor Nation got to know Chock on screen, it became clear that a lot was missing from his story and viewers got to work researching him online. Chock explained that he'd been in a 9-year engagement, but his fiancé had died from cancer within the last few years. While he and Joan tragically bonded on losing their significant others, many Bachelor Nation viewers wanted to understand why Chock had been engaged for 9 straight years. Chock's late fiancé wasn't the only person who had found a non-committal side to the Kansas native. After Chock began appearing on the Golden Bachelorette, some of his exes came out of the woodwork to explain their experiences with him in the past, explaining he was highly non-committal in their relationships after being deeply affectionate, as well. Chock was overly affectionate with Joan, which frequently came off as overbearing to Bachelor Nation. Some believed he was love-bombing her throughout their time on the series, while others weren't entirely sure what to make of his overwhelming feelings for the Golden Bachelorette. Chock has cleaned up his act post-season. Although Joan and Chock were scrutinized during their time on the Golden Bachelorette, things got even more intense once the pair removed themselves from Bachelor Nation and moved into their newly public lives. After appearing on the Golden Bachelorette, after the final rose, Joan and Chock had the opportunity to finally move into a public-facing space as a couple. Taking to social media, the pair were able to share more about what they'd been up to since the show finished filming and reveal more about their personalities without the added editing of the show changing or limiting who they are. While Joan and Chock have posted a lot of content together, Chock has been the one to clean up his act after the Golden Bachelorette. With his reputation tarnished after the season, Chock has had to answer to Bachelor Nation about a lot of his behavior on the series. While Chock was quick to deny any issues that he showed during the show's filming, he also tried to explain that the series was edited in a way that made him look different than he actually was. On social media, Chock has made himself the perfect fiancé to Golden Joan. Joan appears to be heavily invested in Chock. While Chock has been trying to make himself out to be a wholesome fiancé, Joan has been falling for him further. Joan has been documenting her time with Chock as she's moved through the postseason, sharing videos and photos of her and her new love, or spending time at home. Joan's enjoying the time with Chock as a preview of what their lives will be like together in the future, but it's clear that there's a layer to their relationship she isn't sharing online. While Joan is welcome to her privacy, a layer of their relationship hasn't been touched on. Bachelor Nation is falling for Chock's games just like Joan. Although Joan is a likely candidate to fall for Chock's good guy act, Bachelor Nation also appears to be coming around on Chock after his social media presence has changed his public persona. While Chock is still the same guy who had some commitment issues during the Golden Bachelorette season, it's clear that he's trying to hide his past in order to maximize his future. Some Bachelor Nation viewers aren't picking up on his odd energy, and it's confusing to see people enjoying the Golden Bachelor villain romancing Joan like he wasn't someone they disliked on screen. The Golden Bachelorette Season 1 ended with Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple happily engaged, but I'm still not over the fact that Bachelor Nation is falling for Chock's Good Fiancé act. Joan's time as the Golden Bachelorette was a first for the franchise, And as the inaugural lead, there was a lot of pressure surrounding her choice at the end of the season. While the show had a lead dedicated to finding love and a cast of men seemingly ready for a second chance at romance, issues arose that left viewers questioning certain dynamics, particularly Joan's relationship with Chock. The majority of the time Joan and Chock spent together on screen left Bachelor Nation puzzled. Joan, who was open to love after losing her late husband, Joan Vassos, fell hard for Chock early on, but viewers didn't seem to see him through Joan's rose-colored glasses. While Chock appeared to be charming and considerate, some fans saw a deeper, troubling pattern beneath his polished exterior. Coming off as overly affectionate yet oddly non-committal, Chock's behavior raised more red flags than rose bouquets. And yet, here we are, with Bachelor Nation seemingly swooning over him post-season. Let's dive into why Chock's transformation feels less like growth and more like a carefully orchestrated performance. Bachelor Nation saw Chock's red flags early. Although Chock wasn't the only standout suitor on the Golden Bachelorette, he quickly became one of the most heavily featured men during the season. As Bachelor Nation got to know him on screen, cracks in his seemingly perfect facade began to show. From his overly affectionate behavior with Joan to his questionable relationship history, viewers started piecing together a less than flattering picture of Chock. One of the biggest revelations came when Chock shared details about his past. He explained that he'd been in a 9-year engagement before his fiancé tragically passed away from cancer. While this detail initially painted Chock as a sympathetic figure, many fans couldn't help but question why someone would remain engaged for nearly a decade without moving toward marriage. Was it grief holding him back, or something else entirely? The ambiguity around this part of his life left viewers unsettled. As the season progressed, more questions arose. Some of Chock's exes emerged with stories of their own, describing him as charming at first but ultimately non-committal. They painted a picture of a man who loved the idea of love but struggled to follow through when it came to long-term commitments. On screen, Chock's grand romantic gestures toward Joan often felt exaggerated. While some fans labeled his behavior as sweet, others suspected it was a form of love bombing, an overwhelming display of affection meant to gain control or influence over someone. For many, his actions came across as less genuine and more calculated. Chock has cleaned up his act post-season. Once the Golden Bachelorette ended, Chock and Joan transitioned into the public eye as an engaged couple. The shift from being on a reality show to navigating real life under the scrutiny of Bachelor Nation brought new challenges and opportunities. While Joan seemed to embrace their new life together, Chock took to social media to clean up his image. During the Golden Bachelorette, after the final rose, Chock faced tough questions about his behavior on the show. He claimed the editing had exaggerated his faults, portraying him as someone he wasn't. "They showed a version of me that was incomplete," Chock explained during the live reunion special. But instead of focusing on the past, Chock turned his attention to reshaping his narrative. On platforms like Instagram and TikTok, he presented himself as the perfect fiancé, a devoted, doting partner who couldn't wait to spend the rest of his life with Joan. Chock's posts often feature the couple sharing intimate moments, from cozy mornings at home to romantic getaways. He's leaned into his new role as Golden Joan's perfect match, regularly sharing captions about how much she means to him. While these updates have won over some Bachelor Nation fans, others can't shake the feeling that Chock's transformation is too good to be true. Joan appears to be heavily invested in Chock. While Chock's post-season makeover has drawn mixed reactions, Joan seems genuinely happy in their relationship. As someone who spent years mourning the loss of her late husband, Joan's journey to finding love again has been inspiring to watch. She's shared her own updates about life with Chock, including heartwarming photos and videos of their time together. Joan's posts often highlight Chock's thoughtful side, whether he's surprising her with flowers or cooking her favorite meals. She's spoken about how Chock makes her feel loved and supported, and she appears fully committed to building a future with him. Yet, some fans can't help but wonder if Joan's investment in the relationship has blinded her to potential red flags. It's possible that Joan sees a side of Chock that viewers never got to see on screen. After all, reality TV is known for its selective editing. But it's also worth considering whether Joan's desire for love and companionship has made her more willing to overlook certain behaviors that might have given her pause under different circumstances. Bachelor Nation is falling for Chock's games just like Joan. Perhaps the most surprising development post-season is how quickly Bachelor Nation has warmed up to Chock. Despite the skepticism he faced during the show, his carefully curated social media presence seems to have won over many fans. Chock's posts paint him as a loving and devoted partner, and his engagement to Joan has been met with an outpouring of support from viewers who want to see the couple succeed. But not everyone is convinced. Some Bachelor Nation fans remain critical of Chock's transformation, arguing that his online persona feels more like a performance than a reflection of who he truly is. They've pointed out inconsistencies in his behavior and questioned whether he's genuinely committed to Joan or simply enjoying the spotlight that comes with being part of a high-profile couple. The divide in fan reactions highlights a larger issue within the franchise: the way viewers are quick to forgive and forget when it comes to contestants' behavior. While it's natural for people to evolve and grow, the speed at which Chock's public image has shifted raises questions about the authenticity of his transformation. Is he genuinely working to be a better partner, or is he simply playing the role of the good fiancé to maintain his newfound fame? The unfinished story of Joan and Chock. As Joan and Chock's relationship continues to unfold, it's clear that their story is far from over. While they appear to be happy together, the dynamics of their relationship remain a topic of debate among Bachelor Nation fans. For Joan, this chapter represents a new beginning after years of heartbreak. For Chock, it's an opportunity to rewrite his narrative and prove that he's more than the sum of his past mistakes. Whether their love story will stand the test of time remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: Bachelor Nation will be watching every step of the way, analyzing every post, and dissecting every moment in search of clues about what's really going on behind the scenes. For now, Joan and Chock seem determined to make their relationship work, and if nothing else, they've given us plenty to talk about along the way.